We kick things off with Joe Biden, the president who puts the hip in hip replacement. Like most presidents, Biden has a complicated relationship with the media, which I get. You know, they nitpick everything he says, they challenge all of his decisions, and they even get their own room in his house, which is insane. Nobody else has to set aside a guest room for their haters. Well, yesterday, Biden's true feelings about at least one member of the press slipped out.
On Monday, when a Fox News reporter asked him a question about inflation, Mr. Biden fired off an insult.
Do you think inflation is a political liability?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Ducey says President Biden later called him to clear the air and to say his comments were not personal.
Within about an hour of that exchange, he called my cell phone and he said, "It's nothing personal, pal." And we went back and forth, and we were talking about just kind of moving forward. And I made sure to tell him that I'm always going to try to ask something different than what everybody else is asking. And he said, "You've got to." And that's a quote from the president, so I'll keep doing it.
You see, this is what happens when you've been on Zoom calls for 2 years. You forget that real life doesn't have a mute button. Son of a bitch. Was that out loud? Sorry. Now, a lot of people are asking if Biden even knew that the microphone was on. But guys, please, come on. Right? He's sitting there talking into a giant microphone, so there's at least a 50-50 chance he knew it was there. And a lot of people online are dunking on the reporter, saying that he deserved this because he's just some Fox News guy asking a dumb question. And they're right. You know, do you think inflation is a political liability is a very stupid question. I mean, what's Biden supposed to say? No, I think people like spending more money to buy the same shit. I mean, if you get to ask the president a question, you should ask him real questions, like, why can't the CDC get its messaging straight on COVID? Or, can you ask your dog to stop chewing my arm? And because of this moment, there are many people who are saying that this shows that Biden and Trump treat the press with the same level of animosity. And I'm sorry, guys. No, I can't accept that. I cannot believe that people would even say something so disrespectful about my man, Donald Jiu-Jitsu Trump. First of all, he wouldn't mumble that into a hot mic. Yo, he would scream that shit into your face. He'd be like, "Get that son of a bitch out of here. So rude, so rude. My crimes are my business." Biden dropped one offhanded diss on a reporter. He's no legend. Attacking the press was Donald Trump's whole thing. You remember that guy? Shit, you can't compare these two. It's like comparing Steph Curry to a random guy who makes one half-court shot during halftime. Show some respect. Don't compare him to Trump. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I know, but you know, you got to know about the hot mics, right?
Yeah.
You got to know. That's when I'm on the show here. You know, I know that if I want to talk some shit, I got to cover up my mic. And our audio guy, he puts it on my wrist, so I cover it up, and I can say to you, yo, our audio guy sucks. You know that, right? This is one of the worst audio guys I've ever met in showbiz. I'm embarrassed, but then once you pull it up, you know what I'm saying? He couldn't hear anything, right? Yo, my boy sucks, right? He's a great dude. See what I'm saying?
Don't worry.
No?
Yeah.
Yo, this shit works all the time. He's a clown. You know what I'm saying? Right.
You got him, Custer.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Hey,
Oh,
hey, no
boy.
one else heard that, so that's how I stay alive in this biz, dude.
And you've got a long career ahead of you. All right, let's move on to the Winter Olympics. You know, it's that time of the year where we all sit on our couches and critique athletes doing sports we just learned existed. We are now a few weeks away from seeing our favorite athletes sliding down an icy track head first, and also feet first, and also crammed inside a giant dildo. But it seems like the main event of these Olympics will be fending off COVID. And right now, China is doing everything it can to win the gold.
With the Winter Games less than 2 weeks away, cities across China are scrambling to contain COVID outbreaks. And officials in Beijing now urging local districts to stay in what they call full emergency mode.
Authorities are tracking down anyone in the city who's bought medicine in recent weeks that could be used to treat fever or other symptoms, even something as simple as ibuprofen, and sending text messages ordering them to get COVID tests. Entire buildings are being locked down, sometimes without warning to the people inside.
Yo, China does not play games. I mean, they will in 2 weeks, but not now. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine your building being locked down without any warning? No warning, nothing. Especially just after you've broken up with someone. Well, guess what, Sheila? We're through. And by the way, I slept with your sister. Yeah. Look, we all said a lot of things back there about sleeping with your sister. You know, shit. But this is way too much oppression for the Winter Olympics. Can we agree on that? I mean, Summer Olympics, sure, oppress all you want, but you can't be locking people in their apartments for sports like curling. Even the curling athletes are like, guys, we're just sweeping ice. Chill. I don't know about you, but this story gave me perspective. Because Americans complain so much when a restaurant asks them to wear a mask. But then China will shut down your entire block because somebody bought Advil. And I'll tell you now, nobody in Beijing is sitting inside their house like, damn, this is just like communist New York. Because this is what real authoritarian control looks like. A government tracking your ibuprofen purchases. That's not for the government to know. That's between you and your pharmacy and your credit card company and the Google ads after you type in head hurt, why? But not the government. And by the way, if you're wondering how China can track every single person who has bought ibuprofen, it's actually not that hard. They just follow the CVS receipt to their front door. This you?
Yeah, I feel like we just had the Olympics. I just didn't watch an Olympics, and now you're asking me to not watch another Olympics?
All right.
It shouldn't go summer, winter, summer. I think we should just, what are seasons, man? It's fluid. I think we should combine the winter and summer Olympics. Underwater bobsled, you know? Rhythmic gymnastic, archery, figure skating, basketball, you know? That would be, I would watch that. The biathlon, where you skate and shoot the targets. I heard it for this one in China, you don't shoot targets, you just shoot people who tested positive for COVID. I can't confirm that, but that's what I heard.
I'm gonna call the Olympic Committee, tell them about
Call
you.
the Olympic Committee. I know you call them a lot, so call them.
I text normally, but this time I'm calling. All right, finally, let's get into some education news. Every American student knows about the SAT, right? It's the only reason you know what supercilious means. It means very serious. For years now, many experts have been saying that the SAT isn't actually very useful. Yeah, that it doesn't predict how well students will do in college. It's biased against people of color, and rich kids can just hire expensive tutors to take the test for them. But now, the company that makes the test is saying, no, don't throw it out altogether. Maybe it just needs an upgrade.
The SAT is going digital starting next year. Today, the College Board is announcing several changes for the entrance exam taken by millions of high school students each year. They'll be answering questions on a digital device for 2 hours instead of the current 3-hour paper test. But students still do have to go to a school or testing center. The new test cannot be taken at home.
As we take the test digital, we've been really focused on students' access to technology. Students are going to be able to use their own device or one issued by their school.
Wow, this is so convenient. Soon, high school kids are going to be able to take the SATs on the same device they use to browse TikTok, chat with their friends, block messages from Matt Gaetz. It's amazing. And I know this idea has its haters. I know there's critics who are like, where is this gonna end? They made the SAT shorter, they put it online. Pretty soon it'll just be a BuzzFeed quiz called Tell Us Your Favorite Ninja Turtle and we'll tell you if you're smart enough for Yale. This guy should host a show. I like him. But you know what? They actually might have a point. You know, because the SAT company, they say that what they're gonna do for the test when it's digital is they're gonna block other tabs from popping up on the screen. You can't go anywhere, you can just do the test. And the device will only have the test. I don't know, man. Have you tried to block pop-ups? Like, you try to close that ad, and the next thing you know, you're balls deep in a rabbit hole of porn, sports gambling, crypto, why George Bush did 9/11. I mean, it's all the things you're gonna learn in college, so I guess it works. But still.
More screen time for kids? That's what you're telling me? Look, the SAT is not relevant. I mean, I didn't do great on my SAT, and my vocabulary is still extremely well. You know, I understand and use words wonderfully, or as some others might call it, a necrophiliac. So it's not like it prepares kids to be successful. If you want to prepare American kids to be successful, teach them how to sing in a competition on TV or run through an obstacle course.
Powerful.
You know what I mean?
I feel you completely.
Yeah.
I really do.
I know I didn't need to tell you, but I didn't crush the SAT, but I crushed.
I would have never known.
I know, and I don't share that with people that often, but to reach the heights that I'm at,
Yeah.
even though I sit beneath you, pretty low actually, it's remarkable because my SAT score was pretty bad.
And I guess that really has shown that the SAT, although sometimes shows, but in most cases does not.
Totally.
Because I would have never known you did badly.
And I don't share that with a lot of people. So.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think you should, because there's no point in bragging.
That's right.
You just keep that between us.
Yeah, you got it.
Whatever you want.
You know what? Hold on. I didn't do great on the SAT.
My man.
Okay.